Hey guys, I have another flashlight I want to show you guys. So this is a new addition to my Nitecore flashlight family. This is the Nitecore MH20. The first thing you'll notice about this thing is its unbelievably small size. I have a few other flashlights, or a couple other flashlights to compare it to. It's hard to believe this flashlight takes an 18650, but this is the MH20, and then this is the MH1C from Nitecore, which takes just a single CR123 versus an 18650. Pretty much the same exact size. In fact, this one's just a little bit shorter. And then there, of course, is the EC25, which is also an 18650, which is the one that kind of compares to this one, since the intensity rating on this one is the exact same as this. So it's certainly nice to see that Nitecore and some other flashlight companies are making flashlights this small that pack such a huge amount of output and an incredible intensity level at 12,500. All right, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, but not too sure. I think this is the smallest 18650 flashlight that you can buy on the market. EagleTech makes another one, their D series. They have a D series that's kind of the same size as this. But as far as I know, this is the smallest 18650 flashlight that you can buy right now. All right, sadly enough, this flashlight does not come with a battery, as some of their other MH models do. You have to supply your own separate battery. So the only reason I said that is because I thought this came with an 18650 because the MH1C came with a Nitecore RCR123, but this does not come with an 18650, so you have to supply your own 18650. All right, so of course the charger is integrated into the flashlight itself, so you can plug this thing into the wall, which is a great feature to have. Now, I don't have to state the obvious. I know some of you guys are going to be asking me this question, but you cannot run 16340s in this flashlight and charge it. Whoops. Now you can run CR123s and 16340s in here, but you cannot charge 16340s. You can only charge a 3.7 to 4.2 volt cell like an 18650, so I wouldn't try sticking to 16340s in here and plugging it into the wall. Not a good idea. And so the first thing I noticed, obviously, when I opened this thing up, is I actually could not believe how small this flashlight was. Put these side by side. So you can actually see that the MH20 is actually still a little bit smaller than the MH1C. The one thing that surprised me the most about this flashlight is, even though this reflector is somewhat very shallow, it's a very shallow reflector, it still has an incredible distance, an incredible throw on this flashlight, which is phenomenal. I've never actually seen a flashlight that has the XM-L2, which is a relatively large LED for a flashlight like this, and a shallow reflector still being able to put out a pretty narrow, tight hotspot on the beam. So this thing does get some pretty good distance for something that's so small. It does have the XM-L2 UO2 emitter, the precise optic technology that Nitecore uses, and of course the nice smooth reflector. Now the LED on my sample, or my flashlight, seems to be pretty well centered, perfectly well centered. Nitecore is usually pretty good about packaging. 1,000 lumens on this beast, and then of course you have the standard accessories. You have the holster, the lanyard, spare O-rings. There is no boot cover because you can't take the boot cover off the actual switch itself, so there's no boot cover. Don't really need to do that anyways. So all that standard stuff. You get a pocket clip too, which is somewhere in there. And then you have the charge cord and silica gel. Don't eat this. You can if you want. Don't eat that. And then you have the micro USB cord that is included with the flashlight. It is a micro USB, so even if you lose this thing, it doesn't matter. You can just use the one from this if you want. Or any, for that matter, it doesn't matter. So I was just making a guess until I actually read the instructions, but yes, I was right. You cannot charge the 16340s in, you cannot charge the 16340s in this flashlight, so don't do that. I know a lot of you may have actually been hoping this flashlight would do that, but it doesn't, so it just charges the 18650. Now, I doubt that it gets brighter with two 16340s because I stuck two CRs in this thing earlier, and the output really didn't increase much at all, really. It's pretty much the same, so it is good to know that. The output pretty much stays the same on whatever battery configuration you use. I usually don't buy a flashlight unless the username self-built on Camel Power Forums reviews it. It's like a little lie detector for flashlights, but I imagine that this flashlight is very close to 1,000 lumens. If not, it's extremely cool. Alright, so one cool feature about this flashlight is that it has the exact same, it has a voltage indicator, kind of like on a lot of the Tiny Monster series. I believe the Tiny Monster series has them. The EA4, the EC25, all those flashlights. A lot of Nitecore flashlights do that. In fact, a lot of them do it. Actually, a lot of flashlights do it. But they have the little battery indicator to let you know how much voltage is left on the battery, which is a great feature to have. Of course, now there is no way to access the battery indicator with the flashlight off. You have to, plug the battery in. So put the battery in there, and this battery is sitting at 4.1, so 4.1 volts. So this battery is pretty much fully charged. I usually don't notice a output decrease until I see the voltage drop below about 3.8 volts. So, but anywhere about 3.9, 4, 4.1, 4.2, it's all pretty much the same. All those voltages, the outputs pretty much at its full pretty good. It won't slip out of your hands at all. The machining on this flashlight is fantastic as well. You got the nice heat sinking there, heat sinking fins. This flashlight does get pretty warm, obviously, 1,000 lumens in such a small size, but it does have heat sinking. Right, so when you plug, I can't get my camera to focus. All right, so when you plug the USB into the flashlight, when the light blinks basically slowly once every couple of seconds, it's letting you know the flashlight is charging. When the light stays completely blue, the battery is done charging, and if it's flashing erratically or very fast, then there's something wrong with the battery. Change the battery out or find something, maybe your plug's messed up, or maybe your cord might be messed up. But if it's flashing erratically, then there's something wrong with the connection or the battery. So constant on, the battery is fully charged, slowly blinking, and the battery is charging. It takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to charge the flashlight, depending on which outlet you actually use. If you use 1,000 milliamp, it's obviously going to charge a little faster than half an amp. So, but I wouldn't charge this more than an amp. It's not a good idea. So an amp is about the most you want to charge. So the interface is quite simple on this flashlight. I thought it would be pretty much like the Tiny Monster series and a lot of the EC models, like the EA4, EAX, EC25. I thought it was kind of the same. It kind of is the same. The switch is the 2-stage shutter switch technology, but the interface is a little bit different on this flashlight. Lightly hold down the button. It goes into your instant. Well, let's turn it off for now. If you lightly tap the button halfway down and hold it, it automatically goes into the ultra low mode no matter what mode you're at. So holding it down, I wasn't high. So now we're in the ultra low, low, medium, high, turbo. What I find fantastic about this is, unlike the ThruNite TN12 2014 edition, when you get to the high mode and you step it up to turbo mode, you don't really notice much of a difference. But on this, you can definitely tell a difference. And I'll show you from the ceiling bouncers. Ultra low, low, medium, high, and turbo. There is a pretty substantial difference between high and turbo, which is great. Probably at least a couple hundred lumen difference. So we're going to hold the button halfway down. It goes into the ultra low, medium. So let's say you want to memorize it in medium. Halfway press it to medium and click it all the way down. Wow, my voice is messed up. All the way down, and then tap it again, and it is going to turbo mode. What the heck? That sometimes I don't know what's wrong with it, but it does memorize the last mode you did have it on. So halfway press. So let's say it's on ultra low mode. Turn it all the way off, and you need to get to instant high or turbo mode really quick. Just press it all the way down and hold it, and it goes into the turbo mode. Hold it again. There's strobe. I haven't been able to find SOS, so I don't know if this flashlight has SOS. And there is no momentary activation, unfortunately, so it's an electronic switch. However, the EC25 is an electronic switch, but there is momentary activation. But there is no momentary activation for this flashlight. So once you press and hold it all the way down, it pretty much stays in that mode. Even if you let go of it, it's still in that mode, so you have to press it off again. The interface is a little bit difficult to get used to, but once you do get used to it, it's pretty simple. So this flashlight, in a lot of ways, reminds me of some of the SRT models, I believe. But I do notice that from a distance away, this looks like a little tiny mini SRT 7? 6? I can't remember. I don't have any of the SRT models, but I do know that the head looks pretty similar to the SRT model. Alright, so of course on this and pretty much every single flashlight nowadays, it costs more than 40 bucks. The head and the tail threads are square cut threads, so it's a little bit more difficult to cross thread your flashlight. Alright, so there's no spring, of course, so weapon mountable, I don't know. I wouldn't weapon mount this flashlight. I probably don't make a Picatinny reel for this thing anyways. But there's the back of the head. So there it is, the Nitecore MH20.